Hi guys, my name's Clement Joe. Welcome back to a new Minecraft stream. We're live. Wow, welcome to the stream. We're live on Minecraft. That's not what I wanted to do. We are live today, yep. I just don't know whether you guys can see the stream. I do apologise, I've had a bit of a crazy day. There we go. Hello to the person who's watching the stream. Welcome to the stream. So, what we're going to do, I'm going to head to the minigame area and walk down because we're going to spend the day at the mob trap. We're going to spend the day at the mob trap because we need new materials. I need XP levels, so we're going to go down to the mob trap. What? The mob grinder, mob trap, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, hello to the person who's just joined the stream. Welcome to the stream. The game's just buggered up. No, it says there's no data, but it says the stream's still on, so I have no idea what's going on, which is not the best. It says no data, but then it also says it's green, which green means that you can see the stream. How bizarre. Oh, I wish I had some shears. I just need a bit of wool. I need some wool, and I don't want to kill him. Hello, RedX101. Welcome to the stream. Hold on. There's some shears here. Ooh, let's go back to Samuel the sheep. Hope he gets. Hope we get 3. Oh, we got 2. Let's just wait for. Let's just wait for him to eat some grass a minute. Unless we get lucky and he drops 3. No, he didn't drop 1. I need... How are you, RedX101? How do I feel about talking politics on YouTube? What do you mean by that? As in talking about politics? Well, I don't care, to be honest. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. If you don't like someone's opinion, you can't moan at it. You can't moan about an opinion. The problem is nowadays that's the problem. That's the problem. You can't moan at someone else's opinion. If I have a different opinion than yours, you can't moan at it. Whereas, and you know, you can say that you don't agree, but you can't accuse someone of being wrong because you don't know who's right. Hello, Nesta Carreras. Kikaras, welcome to the stream. Yes, so for example, a couple of weeks ago, I had someone in my stream that asked me Palestine or Israel. And I said neither. I said neither because there's both bad people and good people on both sides. And this guy was like, yeah, but everyone from Israel's evil. I'm like, but that's not true. I said, that's basically anti-Semitism. You're just saying all Jewish people are evil. And yeah, so... But this guy couldn't agree, I think this guy, I think he was like 13 or 14. So I don't think he really knew what was going on. But because obviously kids in schools now are being taught about what's going on, but they're not really being told the truth. They're seeing it from a warped perspective of they sort of get what's going on. They're seeing it from a perspective of, like, for the news. So Western media will paint Israel in a good light. Eastern media will paint Palestine in a good light. So and it's an interesting thing. So, but you can blame the Israel government, but you can also blame the Hamas. You can also blame the Hamas. The two of them are the problem. They'll never get on with each other. And that's the issue. But what I mean by when you said that weak-minded, some people don't understand that there's two sides to every story, and basically they pick one to pick one to believe. So, for example, like I said there, I had someone who watching my stream who I think's like 13 or 14. He believed that all people in Israel were evil, but that's just anti-Semitism. That's basically saying you don't like them because they're Jewish. I wouldn't say they're not. The newspapers aren't corrupt, though. The newspapers aren't corrupt. What it is that they've got. They're, at the end of the day, newspapers are businesses. They've got to get story. They don't get paid if they tell stories. They've got to get the news correct. They've got to get. Really, they got to get paid. They need to get, the more sales they get, the more money. It's basically, it's the same as every business. It's the same as film. It's the same as film, TV, and media. The more clicks you get, the more pay you get. So they will over exaggerate stories. Like, for example, Red X 101, the Liverpool Echo. The Liverpool Echo are very much a more of a Liverpool supporting newspaper than Everton. So, as an example, Everton did a fire safety check. We're doing a fire safety drill at the new stadium, and the Liverpool Echo reported that they had to do a emergency evacuation because of stadium stuff, because the stadium was dangerous, something like that, which it wasn't true. Everton had planned an emergency drill with 25,000 fans in the stadium, so they could test all the emergency stuff. But it's not about it's about different news corporations trying to get an advantage. Here's one for you. Did you know BBC News cannot report BBC News cannot report the news until they have two sources. BBC News can't announce a headline until they have five individual sources saying the same thing. For example, if Sky News are private, so if Sky News get the story wrong, they can just put an apology up saying we apologize for the mistake. Because BBC is publicly owned by the taxpayer. If the BBC get it wrong, but they got to get it right. So they got to get it 100% right. So if BBC get it wrong, though, they face an inquiry with the British government. They have to they face an inquiry by the British government into why they got the news wrong. So basically, Sky News, because they're privately owned, if they make a mistake, they don't face any repercussions. But if BBC News get the story wrong, they face scrutiny by the British government. So I found that out because I did a tour of one of the BBC studios recently, and they mentioned that, and that's really interesting, though, isn't it? Yeah, BBC, if they get it wrong, they have to report. They face an inquiry by the government. If Sky News get it wrong, all they've got to do is apologise. But on that thing, though, is what you said about the news. The news will always say it. The news will always exaggerate it. So basically, say I slapped one of you. Say I slapped one of you guys in the stream, in public. The news would turn around and say it was an assault. It was a vicious assault when it was a slap. That's how it works. That's what they do. The news always over-exaggerate. They always over-exaggerate what's going on. Because at the end of the day, they're a business. They're trying to get clicks. Yeah, but it is an interesting concept. But what do you mean by politics? Are we talking about the British flag thing? Where essentially clickbait. Yeah, that it is clickbait. So, for example, you do always the flag thing. I don't really know much about it, to be honest, the flag thing. I do think the British flag... I do think the English, the British, the Welsh, the Scottish and the Irish flags should be more visible. I do think the UK flag and the English... I think the Scottish, the English, the Welsh and the British... I think the Irish, the Northern Irish, the Scottish, the English, the Welsh and the Union Jack should fly above every school in the United Kingdom, personally. Well, yeah, I think the British flag should fly above every school in the country, but that's just my purview of it. That's my purview of it because, you know, every other country is allowed to... my friend was talking to me about this. A friend of mine said this recently to me. Me and my friend were talking about this recently, about the British flag. And I said to him, you know, Palestinians can wave their flag around, which is a genuine flag, and it will be a country. It should be a country. It should be a genuine country. But I said they can wave their flag around in public, which essentially it's not a real flag yet. But it's not right for the British people to wave their flag around. But what's the difference? A flag's a flag. It's where you're from. The only thing that you shouldn't fly around is like the Nazi flag and things like that, or you know, the flag of like Confederates and thing. Every national flag should be. You should be able to have your national flag fly in the UK. In the UK, the British flag should be able to fly in the UK. That's just that's my opinion on it. In fact, I've got the British flag somewhere. It's on my desk. I've had it for like 15 years. But yeah, that's just my opinion on the flag thing. Every country on this planet should be able to have their flag. So, you know, the British flag should fly above the... I think the British flag, personally, I think the British flag should... personally, I think the British flag should fly above every school in the UK and every government building. But it's the same as... Yeah, but the council shouldn't have a say on that. The council shouldn't have a say about that. That should go to the local councils. What needs to happen in that regard? The UK what needs to happen in that regard, Red X101, is the local councils need to there needs to be a review into the local councils into what they can and can't do. Because the British flag is the British flag. The British flag goes above your local council. The British flag is a thing that combines us and unites us all together. So that should go to the British government. As in, the British government is in control of Great Britain. Not... The British flag, it should go to the British government. The local council should be involved in policing, you know, supporting the local events. Whether you fly the British flag, they shouldn't have any purview over that. But then I don't like my local council anyway, because I was convinced the mayor for years was sticking money in his own pocket. I probably shouldn't have made that joke, but I was convinced. Besides, I don't like my local council guys. And the reason is I don't think they do anything. The bus service is shit. Well, they're useful. The local councils are useful, but my bus service is absolutely shit. Literally, I would wait for a bus because I can't drive, and the bus would turn up an hour after it should have. Literally, you arrive at the bus station where the bus isn't. And I was sat there. My uni lecturer had a go at me at one point, and I said to him, "You should have left earlier." I said, "Well, I did leave earlier." I said, "The bus never turned up." I said, "I normally catch the bus an hour and a half before the class, and it's not my. How did I know that this bus that should have been there at bloody 12? How was I supposed to know that this bus that should have turned up at half? How was I supposed to know that this bus that should have been there at 10:30 for a 2:30 session, no, 12:30 session? How was I supposed to know that this bus wouldn't show up?" But I'm not, am I? But yeah. But I think you've got to be, I think with every country, you've got to be proud of where you come from. Every person's got to be proud of the country they come from. Because every country has done good and bad. Every country has done good and bad, but the problem with the UK now is they only teach the bad. But they don't say the fact that we stopped Napoleon. It's not. They don't say anymore. Great Britain stopped Napoleon, who was trying to conquer Europe, and was trying to increase slavery tenfold. They don't say that, you know, Great Britain. Colonization's a thing, though. Somebody told me in a stream a couple of months ago, they went, yeah, all of this could have been done without colonization. I said, though, without colonization, honestly, without colonization, materials would never have been used, because some of those countries would never have existed. Modern day India wouldn't exist without the Great Britain. America would not exist without Great Britain. Like the steam train would not exist because Great Britain invented the locomotives. They invented the train. They invented trains. But that was with materials that they got through colonization, because colonization wasn't just about being evil. It was about expanding and exploring. Explorers would go out and find. We wouldn't revert there. We would never have reached it. It's like 200 years. Do you know what the population of the world was 200 years ago? Because of countries like Britain, France, Germany, and all those other countries, because of European countries and the things they did, because of all the countries, because of everything Europe did, because of medicine, health, and health improvements over the last 200 years, the population has gone from 1 billion to 8 billion in the last 200 years. It took us 200,000 years to hit the population to hit 1 billion, and it's taken 200 to go from 1 to 8 billion. And it's because they said all those countries creating people living longer, you know, illnesses being eradicated. But you can say colonization was wrong, but it did a lot of good as well. But the problem with people nowadays is they're too judgmental with the bad, and they don't pay attention to the good. Like Hiroshima, everyone says about how Hiroshima was wrong, but Hiroshima saved more lives than it took. If the Americans didn't drop the bomb on Hiroshima, they would have had to invade Japan to end the war. And you know how Japan had kamikaze planes? They had 80% of Japan's kamikaze planes were actually in reserve, ready for the defense of the Japanese islands. The predicted death toll of the Allied invasion of Japan was in the tens of millions. The 2 atomic bomb strikes of Hiroshima and Nagasaki saved the lives of tens of millions of people. Millions of British, American, French, Soviet soldiers would have died. But they reckon the death toll from Japan, from the war, the invasion, potential famine, the calculations was in the tens of millions. The death toll would have been catastrophic, and it would have taken years. The bombing of Hiroshima saved more lives than it took, because it ended the war in 2 weeks, rather than the 3 or 4 years that they were predicting. They reckon that the invasion of Japan, that could have took 5 years. So instead of the war ended in 1945, that war could have ended closer. That war could have ended in 1950, and the death toll could have been astronomically higher. I'm going to need a little bit more yellow concrete. But I think, though, nowadays everyone has an opinion. Nowadays everyone has an opinion which is true. But nowadays you've got to see whether that opinion's valid. But the problem is, nowadays everyone's allowed to have an opinion, but if your opinion's against everyone else's, well, Karens, yeah, they used to be called Sour Susans before the Karen term came out. I think Sour Susan sounds better than Karen. What do you guys think? What would you rather call a miserable woman? Sour Susan or Karen? I think Sour Susan sounds better. But yeah, what I'm saying about that is everyone's entitled to an opinion, because that's what freedom of speech is. But nowadays, people don't like people get silenced because some people don't agree with your opinion. But then, what's the point of saying there's freedom of speech if you can't say if they don't like your opinion? If you don't like, for example, like people might hate my Minecraft content, but I don't care. Some people don't like my Minecraft content, some people do. I don't care. Yeah, freedom of speech is enshrined in the British Constitution. Freedom of speech is actually enshrined in the British Constitution. There's a place in the UK, I think it's called Freedom Alley. There's a place in the UK, I can't remember what it's called. There's a corner, and basically you can just go there and say what you want. Oh, that's it. Speaker's Corner. There's a place in London's Hyde Park called Speaker's Corner, where basically it's a tradition that dates back to the 19th century, but speakers can go and stand there on a soapbox and basically say what they want. They can say their opinion. Well, no, it's enshrined in Twitter's a newer thing. Twitter's obviously a newer thing, isn't it? As in last 10, 15 years. But freedom of speech in the UK has been a thing. It's been a thing for hundreds of years. But nowadays, some people don't like you speaking. Nowadays, people don't like you utilizing free speech. But you know, free speech is a thing. You can say what if you don't like. If you don't like, if you don't agree with something, you can not agree with it. Well, yeah, but I don't think he'll be Prime Minister for much longer after that poll. But I don't know. Hello, Claudio Shrek. Welcome to the stream. Oh, it's Strack. Sorry, not Shrek. Sorry, I read it as Shrek. My eyes are playing up. Yeah, but you know what the problem is there, Red X 101? Do you know what the problem... In 2 days I start school. Yeah, I do not go to school anymore, guys. I've finished my uni degree. I need to I've applied for a couple of jobs, but I've heard nothing back yet. I've heard absolutely nothing back yet, so... Yeah. After 18 years, my education is finished. I've been in how old is everyone here? I've probably been in education longer than some of you have been alive. '18. So I've been in your 7th grade. What is 7th grade? I don't know because I'm not American. 12 to 13. Yeah, I think I've been in education. We don't have that in the UK. We have primary and secondary. Primary's from 4 to 11, secondary's from 11 to 16. Yeah, what was I was going to make a joke. What was I going to say? Yeah, I've been in education longer than everyone here has been alive. Because Red X 101 says he's 18. So I was in education. I started education the year he was born. Blimey. Yeah, the thing with the UK though is the thing with the UK, Red X 101. The thing with the UK is the last general election. I don't think Labour would have won the last general election. I don't think Labour would have won the last general election if the Tories hadn't have been absolutely hated. The problem with the UK, that's the first time ever. That's the first time in history that people have ousted a party because they're pissed off with them. That's the first time in history. My dad was telling me that, actually. My dad said to me that's the first time he's ever known a political party ousted from power because everyone's pissed off with them. And, you know, Labour just knew they were going to win it. Yeah. The thing is, though, I think they will be in power in a couple of years' time. But the thing is, the only reason they didn't win the last one, was because the election came too quick for them to really organize themselves, because they thought the election would be in October. They thought the election was going to be in October, and then they did it in July, and then they announced it in July. So they thought they'd have longer. But don't get me wrong, I don't actually like Farage. But I can just see him being Prime Minister in 5 years' time, because everyone's getting so pissed off with the two main parties in the UK for the last 100 years has been Tory Labour. Before that, it was Tory Liberal. And obviously the Liberal Party is... The Liberal Democrats are a spawn of the Liberal Party, of the old Liberal Party. But for the last 150 years, it's either been Labour, Liberal, or Conservative. Yeah, before the Labour Party existed, it was basically Conservative or Liberal. And then it was Whig for a bit. They had the Whig Party, but the Whig Party no longer exists. But yeah, the Liberal Democrats are basically the reformed Liberal Party. But for the last 100 years, it's either been Labour or Conservative. And, political parties change over the time. It's like America. In 100 years' time, the Republicans or the Democrats, one of them might not be as big anymore. It's the same, political parties die, like ideas die. 100 years ago, they thought communism would be, every country would be communist by the end of the century. And now there's only a couple of countries that are still communist governments. It's really interesting history. It's amazing. It's very interesting history. Communism. The thing is with communism. The thing is, though, true communism would be a great thing if it worked, but communism will never work, because the worker will never have this will never have the same thing as the owner. The government's owning all the businesses, and then the sharing all the wealth with the worker. As much as that's a good idea, it will never work, because someone's always gonna want more. I saw something interesting the other day. It said if you tax the business, all these people nowadays are like, tax the big businesses. You do realize if the big businesses are taxed, they'll just up the prices, and then who's gonna front that bill? The customer. I'm glad there's still OGs playing Minecraft out there. I'm new here. Welcome Angel292. Welcome to the stream. I am currently just on Legacy Console Edition, just because I love Legacy Console Edition. Welcome. Yeah, have a good rest of your day, RedX101. Thank you for joining the live stream, and I'll see you in the next one. I do apologise for today earlier on, to today, everyone. I was trying to do a podcast because I love films and TV, so I'm trying to launch a film and TV podcast review podcast, a film and TV review podcast, and we weren't going to stream this today. We were going to do that, but 20 minutes in, YouTube took down the stream because apparently I violated something, but I cannot see what I violated, so I'm gonna have to redo that episode as like a video, so I'm gonna work on that sometime, preferably tomorrow or tonight, but I'm hinting more towards tomorrow that I'm gonna do that. Glad there's still OGs of Minecraft. Yeah, I love this version. I absolutely love this version. I prefer it over Bedrock. So this world I've had since 2016. I've been playing this Minecraft world for over 9 years. It was 9 years. It was 9 years, 9 days ago actually. Surprisingly. I'm just gonna put this YouTube stream in my Discord server because I haven't promoted it. Might as well stream MC, I think. That's what I just put in my Discord server. There we go. But how are you, Angel292? Are you having a good day? What am I here for? I want to go to the mob trap. I wanted to get some more XP levels because I want to get these axes together. Listen, that's good to hear. How did you find my channel, out of curiosity? I always like to know that, how people find my channel, so I understand the algorithm a little bit more. I was scrolling through YouTube Shorts. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's because I have noticed that I started doing these YouTube live streams as shorts because I found out a lot more people I found that a lot more people were watching them as shorts than videos. So I've sort of moved all of my live stream content to shorts because I found that more people tend to watch them. I found that more people are find channels through that. Yeah, so it proves that proves that I was right in my judgment and the idea that more people would discover this channel through shorts. Because it's one of those, it's sad. Legacy Console Edition is hardly used anymore. Like, not many people are. It's not many people are playing Legacy Console Edition anymore. I started doing these streams because I couldn't find Legacy Console Edition content anymore. I just couldn't find anything of that regard. I'm just gonna quickly look for a notification a second. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose. Oh, there we go. So yeah, pardon me guys. It's night time now. I'm gonna quickly. I have not got any food on me. That is not good. I still have that bed on me though. I could actually just go to sleep. Why couldn't I place it on that stone? That's really weird. So that proves that it works. Yeah, so the podcast episode, guys, I'm going to have to just scrap for now. Yeah, so I have no idea. Maybe you should find Outer Jersey that are still active so we can... That are still... Well, we love Legacy Edition. That's true. I do know people who are still playing Legacy Console Edition. There's a guy with 12k subs who watches my streams quite often. He's big on Legacy as well. I'm just googling what this. I just Google translating what this person has said. Which, it's not giving me any... I can't translate this person's name. Hello to the person below that I cannot translate what they've put because it says it's in English. So I can't actually translate what you've put. That's really bizarre. Yes, whoever's just joined our stream, I can't translate what they've put. It won't translate because it says it's not a language. That's rather interesting. Yeah, there is people. It's really sad, but it's also because it's been discontinued for so long. But it should never have been discontinued. Crossplay should have been between just the Legacy Console Edition updates. Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo, and maybe Java, they should have all been made crossplay, because I think that would have worked. But the problem with Bedrock Edition, it just doesn't work. Bedrock's just too laggy. That's quite sad though, isn't it? That's quite sad. I would rather play this version from 1.12 than go and play all the latest updates because Bedrock's just so laggy. I mean, I've built all of this on Legacy. I'm with blocks. I've only got blocks up to 1.12 because this is not the PlayStation 4 edition. And yeah, I would take this, and I would take this above all editions. Oh, I'm gonna yawn. Thank you to the people who subscribed, by the way. As it stands, we are aiming to hit 60. We're aiming to hit 6,800 by the end of next month. As it stands, guys, we are crossing the end of it's the end of August. There will not be any streams from me in a couple of weeks' time because I'm going on holiday in a couple of weeks. I haven't had a holiday in over 13 months. But yeah, we're going to continue on. Guys, I'm going to make an announcement. Everyone share the stream. We've almost hit 20,000 views for this month totally. So let's see if we can do it today. Let's see if we can, with this stream, let's see if we can cross 20,000 views. It's a goal that we want to do. I think it'd be a very fun one to try and achieve today. It's the end of the month. Let's just everyone wind down for this end of this month and let's all have a laugh on this stream. I made a film quiz earlier on, guys, for a podcast. I made a film quiz earlier on for my film review podcast, and I have to admit the podcast got took down by YouTube because I think I used too much of this scene explaining a point. So, would you guys like to do the film quiz? Would you guys like to do the film quiz? I built a 3-question film quiz, and I've made it for no point. I've made it for absolutely no point now. This film quiz that I made. Hello, Mason. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, everyone here. I don't know. I did 100 days in Legacy Console Edition, where I did 100 days on Legacy Console Edition 2 years ago, but I never decided to continue it anymore because not many people really watched it, so I didn't continue it. I cannot Google Translate. I'm going to try and Google Translate what this person said, but Google Translate was not Google Translate was not thinking it as a language. Yeah, it's not. I feel real bad, but it's whatever this is. It's not translating. Oh, it's an Egyptian hieroglyphics. That's why it's not translating. I'm so sorry, whatever your name is. I can't translate it because it won't translate. It won't translate. Fire resistance. That's good. Hello, Swiss Rex. Welcome to stream, guys. I'm gonna do something. Would you guys like to do a? Would you guys like to do a quiz? Would you guys like to do a quiz? I made a film review. I made a film quiz. Hello, Dark Shadow. So yeah, would you guys like to do a film quiz? I basically, guys, I was going to do my podcast today. I was going to do my film review podcast. We started it and then YouTube took it down. YouTube took my film review podcast down. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be amazing. And you guys can do the film quiz. I made a film quiz for it, but YouTube took the stream down. So, I'm going to set the quiz up. Videos. Here we go. I'm going to give you MC stream. Yes, it's a Minecraft stream because my film review podcast got took down. I fit for violating something, but I can't see what I violated. So, who directed quiz time? Who directed Oppenheimer? Was it Mel Gibson, James Cameron, or Christopher Nolan? I don't know. I'm not watch movie. You haven't watched the movie, or you don't watch movies? What, you haven't watched? Oh, you haven't. Are you talking about you haven't watched the movie, or you don't watch movies in general? Because yeah. Oh, so you haven't watched Oppenheimer? Yeah. Just have it. All you have to do is a guess. All you have to do is a guess. Like the three names of famous people. One of them directed it. I need to look at the quiz myself now. I gotta go. My internet. Sorry, my internet. I gotta go. Sorry, my internet. Bye. I can answer that, guys. As we continue to play, it is Christopher Nolan. It's one of the biggest film. It was the biggest film of 2023. Definitely a must-watch. Definitely a must-watch film. It was definitely a must-watch film. If you watch the film Oppenheimer, you find out that he was actually shafted afterwards. After he made it, they shafted him and basically criticised him. Was the guy from Rookie? The Rookie? What's The Rookie? Christopher Nolan directed the Dark Knight trilogy. Border Patrol said that. Christopher Nolan was the guy that directed Interstellar, Dunkirk. I love his films. His films are really, really good. But they're some of the best films you can possibly watch. Who said this, guys? Who said you're not in Kansas anymore? Was it Dr. Peter Venkman, John McClane, or Miles Quaritch? And I'm surprised. I would be surprised if people didn't know this one, because this is a massive movie. Like, make a question about Minecraft, but there isn't one about Minecraft in here, because this wasn't meant for this stream, Dark Shadow. This quiz was meant for a film review podcast, but YouTube took it down. YouTube took my podcast stream down. YouTube took my film review podcast stream down after 16 minutes. This stream, we're only streaming now because YouTube took it down. And so I just thought I'd give you guys the quiz, because I made this quiz for no reason because of that. So who said it, guys? A, B, or C? There's only one more question after this one. There's only 3. The idea was that I would do a question at the start of every one, but C. And you are actually correct. It was Miles Quaritch. Miles Quaritch is from... It was actually Miles Quaritch. You did get that one right. You got that one right because the official line is, "You are not in Kansas anymore, you're on Pandora. Respect that fact every second of every day." Right there beyond that, right out there beyond that fence, every living thing that breathes, squats in the mud, wants to kill you and eat your eyes with jujubes. As head of security, it's my job to keep you alive. I will not succeed. Not with all of you. You got to obey the rules, the Pandora rules. Yes, it's from Avatar. Which James Cameron, the person from the last question, one of the answers from the last question, James Cameron is the guy that directed Avatar, and that's why I said it's from one of the most famous films. Avatar is the most. I watched it but not remember. Yeah, it's from the first one. Avatar is the biggest film of all time. It got the most at the box office. The film made over 2.9 billion pounds at the box office. Do you want to know a fun fact? Out of the top 4 films of all time, out of the the 4 biggest films of the box office, 3 of them are James Cameron. Avatar, The Way of Water, and Titanic are three of the top 4 biggest films of all time in terms of revenue, and James Cameron directed all 3. The second one is Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame is the second biggest film of all time. But what's your number 1 action film? Skip dialogue. Best action film. Oh, it depends. The best action film for me, you have your main ones, like your Die Hards, because Die Hard's one of the greatest Christmas films of all time. As in, that is an action film. I really love one of the other films that I really like is I love the Has Fallen films. Terminator 2 Judgment Day is a good film. Yeah, that's a good action film. I think the first one's better, though, personally. I think the first one's better. The first one was unique. And the first... Ironically, Dark Shadow, the Terminator franchise by James Cameron. James Cameron did Terminator. Joe, can you see this? Yes, I can. It looks like some beans. I think that's what it is. I can't tell. Yeah, James Cameron also wrote and directed Terminator. Yeah, I can see it's a potato now. Through my laptop, it didn't look like a potato. But for me, one of the greatest action... one of my favourite action films is V for Vendetta, which is the film that I was talking about on my podcast. I can't even see what that says. It looks like a nurse. For me, it's V for Vendetta, which I can show a scene from Vendetta. I'm going to show the scene anyway. I'll show the scene anyway. Let's get rid of that quiz. I'm going to show the scene anyway. Why not? My favourite action scene of all time... My favourite action scene of all time is this. One of my favourite action scenes of all time is from V for Vendetta. And I'm going to play it even if it kills my channel. If this kills my channel, I'm going to do it for you guys. I think it's this one, isn't it?
Faces a grave and terrible threat.
The area's clean, sir.
This
I'm just going to pause it and go to the bit I want. This is my favourite scene of all time.
Now that's done with.
I'm going to show the scene,
It's
guys.
time
It's
to
one of my
have a look
favourite
at
of all
your
time.
Face.
Let's just turn it down a
Take
bit.
off your mask.
I think this is one of the greatest action scenes of all time because of just what it's like.
Defiant to the end, You won't cry like him, will you? You're not afraid of death. You're like me.
The only thing that you and I have in common, Mr.
I can't even
Creedy,
hear
is
it, but this is my favourite scene of all time.
How do you imagine that's going to happen?
with my hands around your neck.
Timmy Tough Knuckles? No, it's V for Vendetta.
What you going to do?
That's that V is the name of the character.
Nothing.
One of the
Nothing
greatest.
but
This is the greatest. This is the greatest action scene of all
karate
time.
Gimmicks. We have guns.
Now, would you have a bullet and the hope?
There we go.
Killing.
This is the greatest action scene of all time, and you guys will see why in a minute. Why it's so good. It's actually done by the same people that did The Matrix. But yeah, his name's V. You don't know his name. You don't know what he looks like. You just the character of V in V for Vendetta, which is the film that I was reviewing on my podcast, but it got took down. It is the greatest film of all time. It's one of my favourite films of all time. But the reason is because you don't know who he is. You just know he's a man on a mission. It's one of the action scenes in this film, especially this scene, is just incredible. And I love how the knife, you can still see this part of the knife floating. And you just got V for Vendetta absolutely going through them. Just absolutely killing every guy. It's not weird action. That's what it is. Action movies are good, but there's a problem with action movies. Do you know what the problem with action movies is? You can tell, if you're watching an action film, you can tell if it's American. Because American movies never have them sweaty, they never have them out of breath.
Beneath his mask.
American movies never have the character out of breath, never sweaty. They've done all that fight scene and it's glossy. It's glossy. They're out of breath. It's never this. With this film, they're knackered at the end of it. Now let's just get rid of that. They're knackered at the end of it. Him versus Deadpool. V for Vendetta would probably win because V for Vendetta is very forward thinking. The thing about V for Vendetta you don't get is he's a very good strategy person. V for Vendetta for 20 years he predicted everything in that film. Hello Bite Rush, welcome to the stream. Yeah, in that film V for Vendetta predicts absolutely everything that happens. Yeah, V for Vendetta predicts absolutely everything that happens in that film. But the only thing he doesn't predict is bumping him and meeting the character Evie Hammond. That's the only thing he doesn't predict out of the whole movie. And same with all chatter name. Yeah, I would love to do that, but eventually it would lag the game. It would lag the world out. I'm trying to find a way to do that. Yeah, it's not a weird action film. But the reason it is because he's quick. he if you listen to the whole scene, OG people, well, yeah, but what do you define as OG? What do you define as OG? That's the thing, though. What do you define as OG? Do you guys define, if you watch the stream now, OG? Or do you define somebody that watched my streams when I created the channel? That's the thing. What do you define as an OG? Yeah, but that's the thing, though. What I mean, what do you define as someone that's OG? Because you must think that some of you guys have watched some of you guys have started watching my streams now, whereas my channel's been around for 9 years. You know, I've had over 1,000 subs for the last nearly 5 years. I mean, not all people, but not a lot of people. Yeah, so I can't call someone OG when they've watched my streams this year, because you've got to think I had over 850,000 views on my channel from people that watched my channel over the last 9 years. So I can't call someone OG now who watches my streams now. I got to look back and go, have they watched the streams since I started them, or things like that. It's a thing. It's what you define as an OG. Place a block for each viewer. We would have a hard job at that, though, because do you know how many people have watched my channel since I started it? Since I started my channel, I've had over 1 million people watch. I would have to go and, right now, if we started doing that, I would have to go and place, should we have a look a minute? Yeah, I'll have a look, though, because I'll have a look how many views we've got totally on this channel. Here we go, let's have a look. We've got 1,051,857,000. 1,051,857. So that would be 1,051,857 blocks that we would have to place, which would be a fun challenge, though. But I don't know whether we don't have a million. We would have to do something about that, though, because we wouldn't have 1 million blocks. Yeah, the thing with that film, though, the action scenes are more grounded, because it's not a... The problem with American action films... Have you guys ever noticed... Can you build 1 block for each 1,000 views? We could do, yeah. That would actually 1,000... Hold on. 1 block for 1,000 views. 100... We would need 1,000 then. We need 1,057. Yeah, yeah, what was I going to say a minute? Have any of you guys ever watched an action film from another country? Have you guys ever watched action films from another country? From other countries? What I mean by other countries, who here is American? Is there anyone here that's American? Is there anyone here that... Have we got anyone in the stream that's like American right now? Really? Be back in a minute, guys. So I'm back, guys. I'm back. Sorry, I had to go a minute. Yeah, I said, hello, dude. How are you today? Hello, hello, dude. How are you today? If you can turn your mic on, let us know. I'm good. Sorry, I had to go AFK. It's not that I was. It's not that I had my mic off. I went AFK for a minute. If I'm going AFK, I turn the mic off because, you know, if I go AFK, I turn the mic off just because if I'm eating something quickly, you don't want to hear that through the mic. I'm really good. How are you? What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Yeah, it's one of the action films. Is there anyone here that's American? Has anyone ever watched, if we've got any American people here, have they ever watched an action film that isn't from America? Good thing. So, oh, sorry. No, it's fine. That's. I was just explaining why I went AFK because I needed to grab a drink. That's all right. Thank you for joining the live stream. And Benable Shorts. I am and have. I am and I have. Shit, the bed, that scared the shit out of me. We're taking all of these mobs on at the same time. Where's that skeleton gone? Well, I needed that. I needed XP levels. I am and I have. Yeah, basically, I'm a filmmaker, and I'm trying to do a film review podcast, which got took down. But I was mentioning a point about a film, because Dark Shadow in the stream said about how the scene I just showed from V for Vendetta, the action scene looks weird, but it's because it's not an American action film. American action films are very glossy. American action sequences are very glossy. They're not. They're all very glossy. There's no sweat. They're not out of breath at the end of the fight. No one ever seems to get tired. Where in foreign action films, there's more. They're out of breath. Foreign action films are more brutal, and you know they're tired at the end of it. You can see that they're out of breath. It's really interesting. If you watch a Japanese action film, they literally the fight scenes are brutal. It's really interesting about what you see in a Japanese fight scene you would never see in an American one, in an American film. It's interesting stuff. Great films. Film is great. Fun fact, guys. Some of you might not know this. Quentin Tarantino's film, Kill Bill, is basically a Japanese film from the 70s, which he just remade for an American audience. And because that American audience would never have watched the original, they didn't realise it was a copy. And it's the same with other films in different genres. Some films in other countries will just be remade for a new audience. There's a film called The Last Train to Something, and there's an Indian film called Last Train to Something. It's a Bollywood film, and what they don't know, because obviously they wouldn't, people in India would never have watched Forrest Gump. What they don't know is that film's actually Forrest Gump, made for an Indian audience. It's really clever. But it's not copyright. It's basically taking a film and making something new about it from it. Technically, it's not copy. Technically, it can't be classed as copyright. But because of that, it's technically also not classed as copyright, which is an interesting concept. How much gunpowder we picked up? 50. So how are you, but Unburnable Shorts? How are you? I feel horrible for not asking you how you are. Okay, the game's just turned off. That's so weird. Well, that I don't know if that's in the stream, but I think I'm sorry you got it taken there. What? Night, Dad. Yeah, it wasn't a. It was, yes. It didn't get taken down, surprisingly though, everyone. It's just that they suspended the stream, so you could hear my commentary, but but thank you. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm surprised it got took down. I have no idea why. I can't actually work out, guys, why it got took down. But we're gonna find out. But what it is, guys. I'm convinced. I'm genuinely convinced it might be because I played too much of the scene. I'm gonna have a look, but I'm convinced it's because I played too much of the scene from the. I played too much of footage from the scene. But then, if you're watching a short film, if you're reviewing a short film, if you don't play the scene in full, how are you supposed to explain the meaning? Because the film, it's because you're playing it out of context. That's the bit I'm struggling to work out. But it is what it is. I'm just gonna remake it. I'm gonna remake it as a YouTube video, and then I'll go from there. But I'm convinced it might be because I played too much of the scene. But yeah, that's good to see that you're good. Unburnable Shorts, thank you for joining the live stream. Yeah, I'm convinced it is. I'm convinced it's because I played too much of the scene. But you can't. If I'm trying to explain why Adam Sutler is such a hypocritical and evil man from V for Vendetta, it makes sense just to play his whole speech when he basically says that there will be justice will be swift and without mercy. And when earlier on in the film where he says, I want them to hear this message and understand why they need us. It's an interesting film. What film should I do next, though, guys? Because I will need a podcast for next week. So what short film should I do for next week? What film should I do for next week? Or should I just react to my own uni projects? Should I just react to my own uni projects? And should I react to my own uni projects and just critique them? And then I get around. Then technically I get around the system. Perhaps I react to my own short films. Oh, that'd be an interesting concept. Maybe I react to my old little short stuff. If you ask me, I'd let you do what you want. But I have put on my Discord server, I have put up a thing so people can suggest like short films for me to review. But I'm just thinking that a minute, guys. What I'm thinking about in a minute, at the sec, I think it'd be nice to do a podcast where basically I just review my own stuff and I see how I've improved. And I see how much I've improved as a filmmaker. That would be an interesting concept. Yeah, of course you can. You can suggest anything. I'm gonna do one thing. I am gonna do a couple of episodes of Doctor Who for the review. I'm gonna do a couple of clips from Doctor Who for a review. I do understand now, guys, why people use Patreon and things like that, because they can't get the full review in. But that's just ridiculous, though. You should be able to review a film. Yeah, of course you can suggest shows. I've already got a couple of shows that I'm thinking of doing. I'm definitely going to do Doctor Who, because there's a couple of shows and films that I'm going to do just because of what they mean to me. And Doctor Who is one of those shows that just means so much to me. Yeah, of course you can suggest a show. I've got to be honest, I've never watched it. Yeah, there's some shows that I'll consider doing, but there are some shows that I don't like the style of. Yeah, we'll consider it. There's a lot of stuff we'll consider. We are going to do a lot of films. There's quite a few films that we are going to do. I'm thinking of doing the film Wonder and Whitebird, which I definitely want to do those two because Whitebird literally reduced me to tears. I think what I'm going to do, guys, everyone on this stream right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in and over tonight and tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, I'm going to turn the FIFA Vendetta podcast. Yeah. I'm going to turn, what I'm going to do, guys, tonight, possibly tomorrow, I'm going to turn the FIFA Vendetta what I was going to do for the FIFA Vendetta podcast, I'll turn it into a YouTube video and that'll become episode 2. And it will explore all the same themes that we were going to do on the podcast. How's your day been? My day's been alright up until I did my podcast, Bite Rush. It was up until I did my podcast that I was fine. Basically, I started doing my film review podcast, and then my stream got took down by YouTube. I think I might have aired too much of the film. In fact, guys, wrong thing. I even did a quiz. Would you guys like to do it? Bollocks. That's not what I wanted to do. Here we go. Who directed Oppenheimer? Was it Mel Gibson, James Cameron, or Christopher Nolan? Everyone type out an answer and then we'll move on to number 2. This was made for my podcast, so Last week's podcast was the Minecraft movie. And I had a lot of people telling me to just shut the fuck up and play Minecraft. So I tried to make it more like a podcast this week. So I invented this, where we're going to do a quiz. And we did it, but then the stream got took down. So, someone said C, which I can reveal that it is... In fact, it is C. It is Christopher Nolan who directed Oppenheimer. And now we'll go to question 2. Who said this? You're not in Kansas anymore. Was it Dr. Peter Venkman, John McClane, or Miles Quaritch? Throw that. You deserve better. I don't deserve better. You learn things from it. I was a bit worried about I was a bit worried about this podcast. I knew something might go wrong, but I'm convinced I know what to do now, and I think I used too much of the scene. But sometimes you need a little bit too much of the scene to explain the point. So everyone, is it A, B, or C for who said this? You're not in Kansas anymore. Was it A, B, or C? We've only got two more. We've only got one more question after this one, because I was gonna do. It was gonna be called Calamity of Joe's like three film bazaar or something. So, who said this? We're not in Kansas. You are not in Kansas anymore. Was it A, B, or C? Was it Peter Venkman? Was it John McClane? Or was it Miles Quaritch? If you don't know, guys, just put A, B, or C. And I can reveal that it was in fact C. It was Miles Quaritch, because Miles Quaritch's line in Avatar is, "You are not in Kansas anymore, you're on Pandora. Respect that fact of everything of every day. Out there beyond that fence, every little thing that flies, squats in the mud, wants to kill you and eat your eyes for jujubes. As head of security, it's my job to keep you alive. I will not succeed. Not with all of you. You got to obey the rules. Pandora rules." Some people went wrong. Some people went wrong by the fact that Dorothy in Wizard of Oz 1939 says, "We're not in Kansas anymore." And we'll go to the third one. Okay, here it is. Who played King Theoden in Lord of the Rings? Ian McKellen, Bernard Hill, or Richard Harris? Who played King Theoden, guys? Is it A, B, or C? Is it Ian McKellen, Bernard Hill, or is it C, Richard Harris? And we'll wait for a couple more answers. B is in fact B. It is Bernard Hill. And I tried to throw some of you guys off with Ian McKellen is also in Lord of the Rings. I tried to throw some of you guys off by Ian McKellen is in Lord of the Rings, but Gandalf. Bernard Hill, ironically, Bernard Hill was nominated, is the only actor to be in 2 films, which both got 11 nominations. We've just been doing a bit of a quiz. We've just been doing a bit of a film quiz that I planned for my film review podcast, but it got took down by YouTube. So, Bernard Hill is the only actor to star in 2 films, which was nominated for 11 Oscars. The most nominate, the biggest Oscar win, the 2 biggest films ever for Oscar wins was Lord of the Rings and Titanic, which both won 11 Oscars. And Bernard Hill was in both of them. Bernard Hill was in Lord of the Rings: Return of the King and Titanic were both won 11 Oscars at the Oscars. You were good at it, film quizzes. Well, I made that this morning because I thought I thought I needed something to start the podcast with. So I thought, I'm gonna do a 3 film quiz thing. Literally, I edited all that together 5 minutes before the podcast started. Originally I was gonna do one which I won't reveal what it was because I might do it in the future. I was gonna do a different question, and Bernard Hill come into my head, and I was like, well, who played Theoden? Bernard Hill or Nintendo Switch? I'm playing it on Nintendo Switch. But I studied film. You know, I've got a Bachelor of Science in film. I've got a film degree, so using film is something I really wanted to do. So I wanted to try and find a way to use it, and I've wanted to do this podcast for over 2 years. I've wanted to do this podcast idea since 2023. So I finally think the chance to do it, and then YouTube takes it down. Can't believe it, YouTube. Why would you do that? Why would you do this? Can you tell us about my week? About my week? Well, my week's been alright. I applied for a couple of jobs. I've been writing a novel. For the last couple of weeks, so that will come out next year. Because I brought out 2 novels this year. I brought out Dawn of Planets: The Gathering Storm, and I've brought out The Dollmaker, which 2 separate stories. Dawn of Planets: The Gather. I'm currently writing Dawn of Planets: One's War, which is a sequel to The Gathering Storm. One's War will come out next year, because as it stands, I'm still writing One's War. It will come out next year. Well, I'm aiming for a summer release, so you guys can read it in the summer holidays. But as it stands at the moment, it depends when I finish it. Nice. You said, why would you do this? Yeah. The reason I said it is because it was in my old uni lecturer forced us to watch a really funny small little student short films, and halfway through the film, one of them just said, "Why would you do this?" About his brother getting kidnapped, and then turns up. Ironically, this guy turns up to go save his brother from being kidnapped, and then when his brother's killed in front of him, he says, "You killed my brother. Do you think I really care? You just killed I killed yours a week ago." The funny thing about that line is, if you didn't care about your brother, why have you turned up to fucking save him in the first place? You killed my brother. Do you think I really care? I killed yours a week ago. That line, I found so hilarious. I'm like, well, why did you turn up to save your brother if you don't care that he's dead? If you don't care that he's been killed. I thought that was one of the stupidest lines I've ever seen in a film. Ever seen in a short film. It's a good short film. It's just, and he says something about after his brother's been killed in front of him. He goes, "You killed my brother. You really think I care? I killed yours a week ago. Like, why did you go save him then if you don't care that he's dead?" Like, honestly, that's hilarious, isn't it? That's just one of those lines of. That's just one of those old lines of, what? You turned up to save him, but you don't care he's been killed. You sound like another YouTuber. I don't know. I get it all the time. I've had some people say that I sound like I've had some people say that I sound like Stampy. Don't believe that one. I've had some people tell me I sound like Grian. Don't know where that one's come from. I've had some people say I sound Irish. I'm English. I'm British, so I don't know how that's possible. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. So yeah, the reason I said why would you do this is because this character says it in this random short film I just mentioned. My lecturer made us watch all these old student short films, and some of them are hilarious. There's a line in this short film. And this guy says it, and you can tell he's reading, "Hi Dave, I think we need to hire a police car." And when he's reading it, you can tell that he's reading it off the script, and you can tell that he's reading it off the script because you can see it on the table, which I find hilarious. Like, it's brilliant. 1.12 because this is Legacy Console Edition. I don't have 1.13 because this is Nintendo Switch Edition. Okay, have a great day. We'll see you soon. Thank you for watching the stream, and I'll see you in the next stream. Our next stream should be tomorrow. And everyone, I'm gonna refilm that podcast episode. Nobody worry about that. That podcast is the V for Vendetta podcast is episode. The podcast episode for Vendetta is going back up with every fibre of my body. Especially because I'm doing films that mean a lot to me. Without these films, I would never have become a filmmaker. I wouldn't be who I am now. So I am, with every fibre of my being, we are doing this podcast. We're refilming that episode. I couldn't believe that. I started playing Minecraft in 2013 and 14 on my Xbox by OG. Yeah, so did I. I started playing Minecraft in 2014. I was 12 when I started playing Minecraft. I started playing in 2014. I was 12 when I started playing Minecraft. It was fun. I love version. And have a good rest of your day, Angel292. Thank you for watching the live stream, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you to everyone that subscribed, by the way. As it stands, we have 41 subscribers off hitting 6,800. And we're hopefully going to cross that 7,000. You too, have a good rest of your day. Thank you, that's really kind of you. You're the first person that said that to me, actually. After I've wished everyone well, have a good rest of the day on the stream, you're the first person to ever respond, you too, in the whole stream. Ever since you're the first person to ever say that to me. Thank you. That's really kind of you. I'm just gonna quickly check some results. Yeah, what we're gonna do, guys, 200 of you have watched this stream in the last hour. That's really nice. I think we're about to cross 20,000 views for this month, so that's fantastic. Thank you. I will end this stream in a minute, guys, actually, because I've got other things I need to do. So thank you for watching the stream, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.